Welcome to Demasked. My name is Fresman, and today I'm joined by Chronopasta. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me on.
No, I've been looking forward to this for a while. I've heard good things. I've heard good things.
I I really hope I can live up to your expectations then.
So, so you're right. So from what I've heard, you rival Mother Teresa. So it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be easy.
Great.
I but how long have you been on YouTube for?
I think my first video was August of 2019, and I actually had a hiatus there during that winter because internet went down over here for about 6 months, and I was just
Oh,
nope, I can't
jeez.
do anything about it. So what I'll do is I'll just start writing. I'll come up with some stuff, and when I get internet back, I'm hitting the bricks again.
There you go. I mean, geez, 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah. Well, I live in the middle of nowhere, so everything is wireless out here. So if
Oh
the one
yeah.
of the towers go down, it's you're done for.
If the wind blows in the wrong direction, it's down.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had a family member that had dial up, but it was in like 2010. The last time I ever saw dial up.
That was still a thing? How? How is that possible?
They were in like it was essentially a log cabin up on a hill, way out in the forest.
How did they get a phone line out there for dial up?
I don't know.
Just
Like,
stealing off of like an emergency line from a power pole?
well, I'm like, oh, like that's a pretty neat looking computer, and then my aunt's like, oh yeah, use that AOL like 100 hours disk.
Don't forget, it's also diesel powered. You're gonna have to crank it a little bit.
You're gonna have to plug it into the generator outside.
Yeah.
But, oh my god. So what made you want to get into horror narrations?
Um. Well, horror narrations definitely I'd have to say is Mr. Creepypasta. After
Mm,
watching his and listening to his Tales from the Gas Station,
mm.
just bringing all those encompassing characters to life and everything else from that, I think that itself was like, oh, yep, I want to give this a shot. And then it kind of delved into more inspiring me now into writing more. Like I'm currently writing a novel,
Mm.
and I've also got my own kind of Tales from the Gas Station thing going on that I actually have other narrators joining me on. It's called The House That Jack Built, which is actually a homage to Tales from the Gas Station. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the main character's name is Jack Townsend, and that's kind of where I went with the name for my story is the house that Jack built because it is basically inspired by that.
Mm. Now, what kind of what's the term? What kind of horror stories do you enjoy more? More of the, the creature features, or more of the sort of interpersonal person hunting person sort of
I
deal?
guess it really depends on my mood because I do love the paranormal and the idea of the paranormal and everything else, and the haunted cabinet or
Mm.
crazy stuff like that you don't know could still kill you. But even the idea of stalker stories or what was that one I listened to a couple years ago? It was called Baby Monitors, and it was a
Mm.
bunch of kids that messed with a baby monitor to get a frequency into other people's homes. Well, it turns out there was a serial killer in another home that was messing with the kids back.
Hmm.
And yeah, like that's insane to think about, but very possible in a way.
Have you? That this reminds me. Have you seen the movie The Good Neighbor?
I have not.
That's a weird movie. It's not really a horror movie per se, but it's more of a thriller. but it's essentially like a prank taken way too far.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that.
Yeah, it has what's his name? James Caan.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. From that guy from, was it Rollerball? Not like the original one, not the.
Not the remake. No, not
Yeah.
the remake with Ice. What was it? Who was in the remake of
Is it Ice
Rollerball? That
Cube?
was no. It was.
Ice T was
That's gonna.
in Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah, Ice T and Henry Rollins was in Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah, right. Oh,
He played the Doctor. Yeah.
oh. I had a moment way back. I watched that movie for I watched Johnny Mnemonic for the first time this year, and it happened to be on the day that the movie takes place.
That is awesome. You couldn't have lined that up any better.
And
That's got to be one of my favorite Keanu Reeves movies,
it,
honestly.
it was completely on accident. And I'm sitting there and they're like, today's date, January 15th, 2021. I'm like,
It was meant to be,
I'm supposed to be here.
right?
So, do you like science fiction?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you have any favorites?
Um are we going to talk books or movies or a
Yes.
combination of the sort? Yes, good answer. For books, I would have to say my favorite is the Infected trilogy from Scott Sigler. I don't know if you're anything Scott Sigler writes is amazing science fiction. It's not like Star Wars science fiction. It bases off of science fiction things like lab experiments or something like that that just can happen to this day, and he bases it all off of real scientific evidence from things found throughout, but he takes an obscure turn with it all.
Mm.
And I'd have to say my favorite science fiction movie, it gets a lot of hate, but I'm gonna have to say it's gonna be Highlander 2, the director's cut.
You know what? Points for you. I wasn't anticipating that.
Nobody does. That's an amazing, amazing science fiction movie because it has all the elements and then the campiness of everything added to it. I love it. It was great. Either that or Dune. Dune was a good one.
You know, I've yet to watch Dune, and it's not like I don't want to. It's just I haven't had the chance.
I recommend it. It's a good one. Long one, but it's a good one.
When I've highly recommend. Have you ever read Rendezvous with Rama?
I have not.
It's by Arthur C. Clarke, and it's part of a series, but I highly recommend the first book above all else because it does this interesting thing that you don't see in a lot of science fiction, both in books and movies, where I find it strange in science fiction movies where they live in this fantastical, world, but they're acting like they're seeing certain things for the first time. I'm going to turn on this hologram. They're like, whoa, a hologram. I'm like, but you live here. You know that's there.
Huh.
But then in Rendezvous with Rama, like, it's how we treat... They use technology in that book how we use modern technology now, where it's just like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, it's an everyday occurrence.
Yeah, and there's this whole coalition of, like, there are people living on almost every planet in the Milky Way, and the way people can call each other is through, like, they're all sitting at a table, but it's hologram projections of everybody from each of their planets. But there's a chapter describing how a guy just hates doing it because it's like being on a regular phone call.
Oh, and it's just like boring.
Yeah, he's just like he's like climbing out of bed. He's like, oh, okay, whatever. And he sits down in the chair, and everybody's like, all right, how are you today? He's like, whatever. Let's get this done. But it's an interesting look into what humanity would do in the event that they meet something considered alien.
I can see that for sure. Just like we expected you existed. You're not living up to your expectations.
Well, it's not like Mars Attacks where they come down out of the ship. It's there's a ship floating out in the Milky Way that isn't from us, and they're like, "All right, what do we do with it? What's the plan? What do we do?"
Yeah.
And everybody has their own opinions, and they actually take the step to go like try to research what's going on.
Okay.
But then the people
Uh,
from Mercury are like, "Hey, let's blow it up." Just being mean.
I mean, they seem territorial.
Oh yeah. Well, apparently the Mercurians, as they're called, are they see themselves as superior because they've grown up on a planet with more dense gravity.
Oh, so it's probably just a bunch of meatheads that are just super strong and having insane amounts of muscle density.
Well, we do have a research team out there. We'll blow it up, but there's like a team of like 6 people up there, man. Blow it up.
Just send it.
We've already sent it. Pull a Watchman? Why would I tell you my plan? I pressed the button 35 minutes ago. Which is one of the most terrifying lines in that whole story.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if you gotta think about it, if somebody's gonna monologue, they've got something that they're already doing.
Oh yeah. I love that horrible like twist of the knife where they're like, "Hey, we're here to stop you," and he's like, "Why would I tell you my plan before doing it? I pressed the button 35 minutes ago."
Yeah, you
Ooh.
can't stop what I've already started.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it's
way
already
too
on its
late.
way, man. You're fucking 10 minutes overdue.
Yeah. Oh, I wish he like checked his watch. Like, God, you're so
Yeah,
late.
right? Like, well, I expected you guys 20 minutes ago. Sorry, you're late for the party.
Oops. The minute I saw your ship, I'm like, all right, button.
Right? There was no, hey, I'm gonna call you. Just make sure. Like, no, you're unfriendly. Get out of here.
Oh man, I've been trying to go back and watch like older science fiction movies, like stuff from the 70s and 80s. And I
Oh
recently
yeah,
watched Logan's Run.
I love Logan's Run. That's such a good movie.
Well, the thing that was distracting me that the entire film is that Logan is played by Michael York, who plays
Yep.
Basil in the Austin Powers
Basil and
series.
Austin Powers. Yep.
And so the minute he shows up, I'm like, Basil?
Yeah, a young Basil at that.
Oh yes. I I need to rewatch that because there were moments where I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
That's
But
the whole idea is they all have an expiration date
mm,
basically, and then they have executioner teams go out, and once your red dot or your crystal on your hand goes black or red, I don't remember which color it was,
I think it starts
then
blinking.
yeah, and that's when you know you're either A gonna get hunted or you get sent to carousel, which was that uh, celebration earlier in the
The,
beginning of the movie where everybody's
the
sacrificing themselves or whatever.
that weird soul vortex.
Yeah, it was weird, but then rumors started happening because Logan ran into that woman and said that no, there's a world outside of this, and that's where I'm trying to go.
Did,
Because apparently that civilization they have that in place because they could only sustain so much
mm,
people at a time.
well, didn't the system that regulates everything talk to Logan? It's like, hey, we need you to find sanctuary. Also, guess what? Your crystal's blinking, just so we can get
Yeah,
you out the door.
yeah.
Just, oh,
It
dick
turned out to
move.
be a ruse until they left the dome or whatever, and it completely shut off. Like there was no more. not working anymore.
Or what? What was the term that they used for the? Oh my god! It was. I'm thinking of Death Stranding, but it's not Death Stranding. It's not repatriation. It's like it's not recycling. It's something. Oh my god! It's like reincarnation. You know,
Okay.
but um, or at least that's what they believe that's what's going to happen when you go into the weird soul tornado.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
there was that really tragic scene where he's fighting what's his name, Francis, his friend, and he Logan wins, and you see Logan's like jewel is turned white, which means you're up for reincarnation. And Francis is like, you did it. You're gonna be okay as he's dying. I'm like, oh
Just
man,
last minute words of encouragement.
yeah, hey man, you did it, and just like, oh no.
Oh, uh, too bad you didn't.
Now, now, how do you feel about science fiction and horror sort of mixing?
I'd have to refer you back to Scott Sigler.
Uh
He does it, I believe, in a tremendous way.
oh.
I mean, it's almost like the movie Aliens.
Mm,
That was done so perfectly for the time era, and then they had to up the ante, I guess. Aliens versus Predator wasn't really horror, but it played on the monster role in science fiction behind all of that.
yeah.
But I mean, you don't see a lot of horror science fiction much anymore because the popularity of that, I know, dwindled in the 90s when you
Mm.
had stuff like the Leprechaun 4 where the leprechaun goes to space, or their Jason X when Jason goes to space.
Or
I mean, you still
Hellraiser.
get, yeah, yeah, Bloodline where they're in space.
The
Come
one
on,
that
man.
configurations on a ship somewhere.
Yeah, I think they kind of overdid a lot of the space travel behind science fiction because there's a lot more to science fiction, I believe, than just space travel. I think they just did it because they were lazy and needed an easy out.
Yeah.
But I think if done and incorporated well, it would be a lot bigger than it is now. I believe a lot of horror stems from some sort of science fiction at least. I mean,
Mm.
look at Cabin in the Woods.
Oh yeah.
You could call that science fiction horror because of the fact that it was a basically a setup from the get-go from whoever those people were that just
Mm.
started unleashing all these monsters and everything else and trying to get the final girl to either live or die. And then
Mm.
I mean, I guess there's always some different system of science fiction pulled
Yeah.
into horror, but to incorporate more so science fiction and have a good even molding of science fiction and horror, I
Mm.
think Scott Sigler does it extremely well.
Mm. You'll have to link me to some of
Oh
his
yeah, I
work,
will.
but
Oh yeah.
I I can't recommend it enough. I think I've recommended it in passing in I think the previous interview, but the book My Name is Legion by Roger Zelazny. I think I finally figured out how to pronounce his name. But there it that book created what might be, at least to me, one of the more terrifying villains in science fiction. But it's only a villain for like a group of people, not like it's not world ending. It's only after
Yeah.
like 5 6 people.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's this huge kind of. It looks like Gort kind of from The Day the Earth Stood Still. That kind of sleek silver look,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but it's a big robot called the Hangman, and his design is meant to go to like uninhabitable planets and go check it out, all while being remotely controlled by the researchers who built them. And what I like is they explain that he it's not one of those cases where it's like it's become sentient, like all of a sudden it's evil. It's the actions of the researchers are what drove it to be evil.
Yeah, it's not like it was created evil. It adapted to it.
Mm-hmm. It's
Okay.
designed to learn, and if I recall, there's like it was the night that they built the hangman, like they finished the prototype and everything, and they're like, "Hey, you know what we should do? We should take him out for a joyride, because we don't even have to leave the lab. We just put the helmet on, we can drive him anywhere we want." And like they're all pissed drunk, and one guy puts a helmet on, and he's like he you see he's described as like running in place for a while, and they're like, "Where's he going?" Because they can't see where he like they can't see through the helmet, and he takes the helmet off and he passes it over to the main researcher. He's like, "All right, your turn." And he puts the helmet on, and he's standing in the middle of a bank vault.
Hmm.
It's like, whoops, we're in the middle of a robbery.
I'll
And
have to check that one out.
yeah, it's a relatively short book, but it's really cool. There's also I I'll use one phrase to advertise it. Uh, what's the term? Uh, telepathic dolphins. There you
Huh.
go.
I
not
mean,
not in the Douglas Adams sense. Not Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But
yeah, yeah. Let's go. So long and thanks for all the fish. Yeah.
uh, I I have yet to read the book of that. I feel like I should.
You really, really should. It's
I'm
amazing.
I'm still catching up, man. I'm trying.
Oh, another movie I just revisited lately is Lawnmower Man.
I'm having flashbacks to that weird, like, that final fight.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
all virtual reality.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. Well, it's because I see stuff right now of like the Oculus and virtual reality becoming this huge thing. I'm like, is there a sense that that could actually happen now?
I'm going to be struck by lightning and become hyper intelligent. It's going to happen.
Well, I mean, not necessarily the hyper intelligence, but the
The,
excessive,
the, the struck by
like,
lightning part,
yeah, I think that part's
that's
little
more
too much.
feasible.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, they lock him in. I mean, they set him up literally in virtual reality, and helps hone his mental capacity to
Hmm.
where he becomes a supervillain, basically.
I
And Pierce Brosnan's the guy who's got to fight him,
Now they got to send 007 in after him.
right?
I is it me or like the early '90s slash late '80s science fiction slash like kids movies heavily relied on lightning as a selling point?
Um, Lightning or like really over the top, polite. What's the word I'm looking for? Like people that are against the system but really polite. Like, have you seen the movie Hackers?
I think I've seen part of it. Yeah,
Yeah, I imagine that just epitome of the '90s right there.
or or that what was it? I'm hacking into their system and they're just like slapping a keyboard
Right? Or
and there's
I'm
like
gonna rotate this old dial phone or whatever, like in
what
an obscure pattern.
what movie was it? I think it was Swordfish where he's like I've hacked into their system and it's like a cube rotating on the screen.
Oh yeah.
I I
That
should I should mention, the quote unquote internet that Johnny Mnemonic goes into.
Yeah,
That's my background on my desktop.
that's awesome. That was, I mean, that was the Matrix before the Matrix, if you think
Hmm.
about it.
Because after the movie, he changed his name to, Anderson, and then
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about, like, he had all this information already in his head that he was basically walking around with just some ticking time bomb.
hmm.
I mean, I think that kind of evolved into what became the Matrix, really. So Keanu really wasn't playing any different role.
Although I would like to see a version of Neo with that kind of weird, what's it called? That weird confidence that Johnny Mnemonic had.
Oh yeah,
I
It-
need to get online. I need a computer.
yeah, right. I just look at Johnny Mnemonic. I'm like, that's a '90s Constantine.
Oh my god, you're right.
Like, I think Keanu Reeves is just one character, very well played in multiple platforms.
We've inadvertently been watching a series, not not different films.
Basically,
Oh, well,
don't
oh
get me
my
wrong,
god.
I love Keanu Reeves. I love his movies. But I mean, the more and more I sit and think about it, it's the same character. Even from Bill and Ted forward.
What about Man of Tai Chi, where he's the villain?
Oh, yeah. There you go. I mean, nope, yep. I could tie that in somewhere.
Behold the Keanu-verse.
I mean, even Lake House. Come on.
What about Scanner Darkly?
Scanner, that was one I haven't seen yet.
Me either. Has anybody seen that movie? Because whenever I bring it up, somebody goes, "Oh yeah," and then nobody ever elaborates. Oh my
Boom.
god.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. There we go. That ties in pretty good.
Harkness is Neo.
Yes.
Somehow he that that's the Matrix's version of a video game. Hear me out. You have to live through Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Wait. You no, because the Matrix ties into you're in a programmed reality. So what
Mm.
if you're just constantly reprogrammed and literally every movie Keanu is in is just him in the Matrix?
And what you don't see
And
is
it's just
like what you don't see is him gaining sentience at the end, but then they like reset him.
basically, I think we're just Truman showing
Oh my
Keanu
god.
Reeves right now.
I feel like we're gonna hit a point where we're just like, does Keanu Reeves even exist?
Hold on one second. I just got a message from the FBI. They said I need to stop talking.
Why, yes, I do want to allow my location.
Yeah, right.
that's an that's a
Oh,
nice suit and tie, Mister Businessman.
right. Why do you wear your sunglasses inside?
Where do I get an earpiece like that?
Right. Now look into this red flashy light.
What? Shit, what was his name? Oh no. Oh no. I'm terrible with names. I know the face. There it is. Hugo Weaving, what are you doing here?
That's another one. Hugo Weaving. I mean, you've got Agent Smith, and then now he's in Rivendell in Lord of the Rings. Completely obscure, and I don't know. I think those are the only two movies I recognize him from.
He was also in Captain America.
Oh, that's right. He played Red Skull, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Not
right.
in,
That's right.
not in the later films he didn't.
No, but he did
Weirdly
in
enough, they
Captain
got the
America.
actor who played the Yellow Bastard from Sin City.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which reminds me, Sin City, like, I saw that movie when I was too young to see that movie.
Yeah, I agree. Same here. But it was a great movie, and I just liked it mostly because it had just a cast and a half in it.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
you can't go wrong with that many, at the time, box office celebrities.
Well, was it Bruce Willis playing the detective was like perfect choice. I don't think anybody else could have done
That's another actor. that's
it.
that's living literally the same role in every movie.
Oh god, there was I want to say there was an episode of like the 90s version of the Twilight Zone that he's in where he what was it? It's like a clone of himself is trying to replace him.
Oh, I don't know if that was Twilight Zone.
Or was it or was it like Tales from Beyond or something like that?
It might have been Tales from the Crypt.
Mm. All I
I
remember is
don't
it
think.
was like overtly threatening, but over the phone of all things.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, he like calls his house and he's like two of us can't be in the same place at the same time. It's like so I'm gonna take your place. And he's like, oh shit.
We won't have to be at the same place at the same time. I'm gonna go on vacation. You can go to my job.
Yeah,
There you go.
I'll take a week off and then you take a week off. We'll change back and forth.
Right? Makes it. It's not like no different than having a twin sibling or something.
You know if it were that easy, if I could have a clone, that's how I think I would work it out.
I wouldn't be able to do it. I think I'd find myself way too annoying. I'd have to kill him or me.
Yes, I
I
know
don't know.
about that book. Yes, I know. How many times are you gonna recommend My Name is Legion to me? Come on.
Right? We've literally watched this movie 16 times in the last week. That's it. I'm gonna put you down like old Yeller.
I
'Cause-
never, I never thought I'd say it, but I'm tired of watching Star Wars with you.
right? You ruined the movie for me. Way to go, me.
Great. I do you have you seen that's an odd question to ask sometimes, but have you seen Star Wars?
Oh yeah.
Good, good.
Oh yeah.
Because I still run into people that are like, no, I haven't seen it. What?
I think that's a rite of passage. You need to at least watch the first three. The original three, I should say, episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At least watch those. And then if you want to delve a little bit more into the story and the lore, then watch 1, 2, and 3, and then because I still have yet to watch 7, 8, and 9 yet.
Don't.
I
Don't.
hear mixed things, but the part of the story that I liked is already done.
Well,
So,
well, it's not. How do I word it? It's not. I'm not a purist. It's not like it's not my Star Wars and anything like that.
right?
It's there are things that happen in the newer movies that are never explained ever.
Which isn't surprising.
Yeah,
But
but
I do
it's
watch the hell out of Mandalorian.
like the thing is it's stuff that desperately needs explaining.
Well, I think Disney probably did something like that on purpose. So it forces people to go to their other Star Wars branded content. You like the Mandalorian. Now you understand where Luke Skywalker's been or
I
whatnot, or even what Yoda actually was.
it the thing is that's those aren't the questions posed. I can deal with I don't know what Yoda is. But it's like how did this get here? No, seriously, how did this get here? And then the movie goes, "Don't worry about it." Like here, I'll use a quick example. You remember Empire Strikes Back, right?
Yeah.
You remember how Luke loses his hand and his lightsaber fall down that exhaust shaft on Cloud City?
Yeah.
That lightsaber reappears, and they
Oh.
never, ever, ever explain how it comes back.
Well, I mean, I think I got a buddy of mine that you would love to talk to you about this because I'm sure he could explain it. It's probably like something behind the scenes that the Force or whatever found its way back to him or whatever. But I don't know if you're familiar with Rando Calrissian.
Yes.
Yeah, he is the Star Wars guy.
Then watch during that interview, he's gonna be like, "Yeah, what the hell was that about?"
Right.
it There's a moment in the latest movie, Episode 9, that I tried to look up why it happened, and none of the articles I found could explain it to me. Like something
I mean,
something
I,
appears out of somebody's back pocket, and they're just like, "Yeah, yep."
see, I don't think the last three were created for a story for you to know. I really think they were created as
For toys.
a means to an end. Like, okay, we know it's supposed to be a saga. How can we just put everything together and let's end several stories at
We
once? Han
we
Solo. Let's have Han Solo die from his son because
we need to
that's
wrap up the story that didn't need wrapping up.
basically. I think they
Uh,
wanted to end the saga so they could probably franchise it out into stuff like The Mandalorian and start doing
well,
side stories like that. Like they're gonna do an Obi-Wan movie and shit like
mm.
that.
What
So
sucks is in the new movies we lost the original continuity, and that was way more hopeful than the movies.
yeah.
It's like, oh, the Jedi must end. I'm like, no, man. Luke created a giant Jedi temple in the original continuity.
I really think that if they need to rewrite the first three movies and make Jar Jar the character he was supposed to be.
The Sith Lord.
Yes.
The thing is, I couldn't. If he talk like, it's not that only Jar Jar talks like that. His entire race, the Gungans, speak like that,
Yeah.
and so at no point could I listen to like, "It was Misa."
I think at that point it wouldn't be like there's a way that he just because he was supposed to be extremely powerful. He wouldn't need to talk per se. He would just do.
He turns into fucking, what's his name, Tetsuo from Akira.
Basically.
Just starts floating and just like, Annie.
Right? Because I would have definitely found it more believable that Jar Jar turned Anakin to the dark side than Palpatine, at least at his adolescent stage.
Well, I mean, if you believe the comics, then Anakin was doomed from the start.
Well, yeah, I mean, because he never, gave up the, oh, my mother or his need for stuff and his anger and constant angst.
Well, no, it's more so because his dad's Palpatine.
No,
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
There's no way that's canon.
It is.
There's no way.
Yeah.
First of all, what was Palpatine doing with his mom? Was he a pod racer too?
No, he literally showed up as crotchety old man and used the Force. Literally just pointed his hand at Smee and was like, "Guess what? Pregnant," and then left.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, there's no way that's canon. There's no way.
Finding
That
it right
sounds more
now.
like that sounds like fan fiction more than
It
anything.
is an official Star Wars comic book. And it's so that, but the thing is, that's a dumb plot point, but it also is kind of interesting because that means literally from moment one, Anakin was doomed.
Well, it's really interesting that you could use the Force to impregnate somebody.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd think that there would be more Jedi's then now because they would have the availability to do that.
I guess so.
Because technically, it's all about your metachlorian count or whatever that's called.
mm,
So just because all he would be able to do is just, put that in the body.
mm,
He wouldn't be able to manipulate them, especially cuz he's leaving. So he disappears for years on end.
mm.
So I wouldn't really call
But
Anakin doomed.
well, I mean, if you were created from dark side energy, you
But
know,
it's not necessarily dark side energy. It's what you do with it and how you harness it.
you say that, and I'm literally like staring at the panel where it's like a red hell rift on Smee's stomach. You're like, no, man. I'm like, dude, it's right here. Please.
I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe it.
It's not true. It's impossible.
It's impossible. You
Finally.
killed my father.
Finally, I'm the Darth Vader standing on that catwalk. Like, come on, man. Come on back from that weird antenna you're standing on. Come on.
Damn it, Anakin. I have the high ground.
Oh, like it's so yeah. Like then there was that time that Darth Vader fought like a cursed mask. No relation to me, but
I mean, that's fair.
but it was like a Sith like transferred his soul into a mask, and he's like, "Hey Vader, put me on." Yeah, it's
Yeah, I have a feeling. I don't see how that could be canon. Like,
ooh. Ah.
I get the complexity behind like every character's backstory and how Vader has been known to become the most feared Sith Lord across the galaxy and whatnot. But
uh,
what kind of Sith Lord will transfer his soul into a mask? First
one
of
that's
all,
desperate.
because it doesn't make sense because only thing that you're transferring is your soul. You don't have your metachlorian count, so therefore you'd have no power.
Yeah, right.
So, like, you're contradicting yourself. So, for some reason, if that mask was able to do anything to Vader, that mask had to have been a fucking made out of the crystal or whatever that you put in the lightsaber.
The
Something that
kyber
harnesses
crystal?
it. Yeah, because literally, that doesn't make any damn sense at that point.
By the way, the planet. Oh my god. So the planet that the kyber crystals come from, Ilum. There's a reason the bit that I brought up in episode 9. There's a reason that scene makes even less sense. Because it involves a kyber crystal that literally came out of nowhere.
Geez. Of course.
Yeah, and it's not
I'm
like
so glad I haven't watched the last 3 movies.
it's. Here's the thing. Do you care about spoilers?
No. Spoilers don't bother me.
So Rey literally pulls a new lightsaber out of her back pocket.
Spoiler alert, everybody.
Oops a doodle. Because it's still, even without context, it makes no fucking sense.
Is it what color is it?
Yellow.
That might actually make some sense because
No, let me double down. At no point does she ever have a kyber crystal on her. Ever.
no, but she could have found the lightsaber. I mean, I don't know the location of that where they were at.
She's standing on Tatooine.
Yeah, no, I don't see why a yellow lightsaber would be on Tatooine.
Yeah,
Because that was literally the yellow lightsabers. Weren't they meant for the protectors of the, uh,
the Sentinels.
yeah, the Sentinels? That's what they were.
Well, the thing is, I could. The thing is, people are like, "Oh, she built her lightsaber out of pieces of her staff," and I go, "Cool, that okay, fine. Where did she get the crystal?" And they're like, She built it out of her staff." Where did she get the crystal? Because Ilum is gone.
Did she have a crystal in her staff?
No. At no point does she ever like. She has a staff and she beats people over the head with it. At no point is it a lightsaber. And then
But
she
just because you have a crystal doesn't mean you can activate it.
or or it's gonna be some like, oh, I didn't even know I had it. But no, none of that happens. She just silently pulls a brand new lightsaber out of her pocket and turns it on. And I'm like, where did you get the crystal? Where? And then somebody's like, maybe she went to that planet with the crystals. I'm like, sure, but that's now exploded rubble.
That's vaporized.
Yeah, because it became what's called Starkiller Base, and then Starkiller Base went the way of the Death Star and exploded. So, and a yellow one of all things, you know?
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, well, Mace Windu had a purple one that they literally had to build a lore around because Samuel L. Jackson was like, I want purple.
But the thing is, I could better understand it if, like, and it's weird because even this current canon makes sure to say, like, hey, when you go to Ilum or you find a lightsaber crystal, it has to sort of choose you. So, where did you go? Because there's even a game where you go to Ilum and you have to choose a lightsaber crystal.
See, this is why I say the last three movies were just a means to an end.
I'm at a point where I'm almost refusing that they exist. I will take the prequels any day.
I mean, that's fair. Prequels, sure. Clone Wars wasn't bad. I wasn't a General Grievous fan.
Well, like what's it called? Like the prequels are goofy at certain points, but at least they make sense and shit's actually explained.
I'm gonna put it in a layman's terms for I don't know, some of the audience who may not know about Star Wars or anything, but
people whose eyes have glazed over.
Yeah. Episode 4, 5, and 6 is a lot like Lord of the Rings. It is more adult-centered. Episodes 1, 2, and 3 is like The Hobbit. It's very child-centered, colorful,
very happy,
and acrobatic, and there's a moral behind this.
And
I
then
think that's the best way to place it.
And then the sequels are like watching Bilbo Baggins getting gunned down. No,
right?
You know what? No, it's like watching Gandalf pull out a gun fighting the Balrog.
That would have been cool. Where did he get the gun? He's a wizard. You don't ask questions.
Oh, see, he built it out of pieces of his staff.
Right? Hey, at least his staff had a crystal, okay? His staff had a crystal.
Oh, God. Gandalf with a lightsaber. There would be no Balrog.
I don't even think there would have been a need to go to Mount Doom.
Just cut the One Ring in half.
Right?
Oh, my God.
Well, you gotta think about it. If you were to take, let's say, a stone or whatever from Mount Doom, make a lightsaber out of that, that would have the same technical power as the fires of the mountain. You could destroy the One Ring with that.
Yeah, or even, removing the lightsaber theory, just take a big rock, make it into molten lava with your sick wizard staff, and then just flick the ring into it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Did we just ruin Lord of the Rings again?
Well, I mean, he wasn't that powerful as Gandalf the Grey. He had to kind of die for him to come back as Gandalf the White.
Take that, Tolkien.
I love Lord of the Rings. Absolutely love Lord of the Rings. But why the hell couldn't they have ride the birds all the way to Mount Doom? Yeah, they wanted to be a neutral party, whatever. But come on, man.
you want to hear something upsetting?
Oh, please no.
So I tried when I was with my ex, I tried to get her to watch Fellowship of the Ring with me, and you know Fellowship of the Ring, like the first kind of quarter of the movie is a sort of slow pace, but there's a lot of detail and context. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
like it's stuff you have to pay attention to, and we're midway through the Shire, and like Gandalf's talking to Frodo, like, "Hey, I might need you to take this ring somewhere for me, pretty please." And then my ex turns to me and goes, "Hey, when's something gonna happen?"
Uh,
I'm like, did you
it's
not?
happening
Yeah,
right now.
I'm like, did you not just see the? What about the thing that just happened? What?
Uh, what?
Yeah,
Like, they're literally about to go walk. And they're gonna have to. The sucks because they didn't have Old Man Willow and Tom Bombadil. I thought were like amazing parts that needed to be put into the movie. But I mean, when they evade the ring race to take the Elderberry Ferry to go all the way to crap, I can't remember where the inn was where he met Strider. Like that's an important part of the movie, man.
like even then, in rewatching it, there was a scene that I didn't catch on to because the first time I saw it, I was pretty young.
Okay.
But it's when uh Bilbo's holding the ring near the fireplace, and he's like, "After all, why shouldn't I keep it?"
Oh yeah, my precious.
And he's just kind of staring at it, kind of like rolling it around in his hands. I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like as a kid, I'm like, "He's being weird." Then
Yeah.
grown up, I'm like, "Oh god!" I'm like Gandalf, stop him now.
Well, and then he tries to offer it to Gandalf. Or no,
Yeah,
he accuses Gandalf for wanting it for himself.
yeah.
Like, don't take me for a conjurer of cheap tricks.
I'm
I'm not
not
here to
trying
rob
to
you.
rob you.
I'm
That
trying to help you.
the the fact that the entire room distorts when he starts yelling is terrifying.
Yeah, I think that part like scared me the most watching it as a kid. Either that or the part where Frodo meets up with Bilbo in Rivendell, and
Yeah,
yeah, that's just sudden change
that
of facial
face.
features freaked me out. I was like,
Future me in
whoa.
editing, that face is going to be part of the background for this episode.
Yes, just have it pop out.
Well, like I think I'll just like impose it on somebody, like have a regular background and then somebody in the back's just like ah.
Yes, that would be great.
Uh,
Oh,
I I had a hard time watching that movie when that scene came up because like it's something about how his eyes like bug out of his head.
yeah, and like his teeth get all gross and dark like immediately.
Hmm.
Oh shit, onset gingivitis.
I will say I'm like I like how he doesn't stay nuts. He does that and then he's like ashamed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of builds onto the he's started to get corrupted by the ring, and he senses it when it's nearby. It's almost like the same thing that happened to Schmeagol or Golem,
Hmm.
is that they know it's there. You've been corrupted. Schmeagol tried to redeem himself, but the ring was still taunting him. Hence the reason why Golem he would start talking to himself and get angry with himself
Hmm.
until eventually he convinced himself that Frodo and Samwise Gamgee were out to get him.
Hmm.
So he wanted his precious back. And that's kind of the same idea. Like the beginning stages of that is where you see Bilbo and Rivendell freaking out like that.
Hmm. Plus, if I remember, doesn't the what's it called? Doesn't the ring like speak to you?
No,
I could have I could have sworn like when you hold it, it's
it
like, hey, put
it
me on.
it beckons you, but it does not use words.
Mm.
You get really tempted to use it, and the more and more you use it, the more and more you get corrupted, and the more Sauron can see you, and the ring race can sense you, and because ultimately that ring was his,
Mm.
so he wants it back. It's
Mm.
not like any of the other rings that were created that corrupted the nine kings of old, and the ones for the dwarves that they went insane and turned into goblins or some sort. Well, that's how the Mines of Moria. How that's why during their trip in the Mines of Moria, that's what happened to them all. It's the rings have done that.
Mm. I see.
Yeah, I was huge in Tolkien lore back when I was a kid.
I gotta catch up, man, because I'm more science fiction than fantasy, but there are aspects to fantasy that I enjoy, and
Same.
I need to catch up on Lord of the Rings. I've seen the movies. I need to read the books. I've heard a
Yes,
lot about this Tom Bombadil.
yes. Oh, Tom Bombadil, where he saves them from Old Man Willow. Oh yeah,
The biggest hero.
that is a turning point of how they got out of the Shire.
Well, wasn't if I remember, there was a main complaint that an entire section of the book got skipped. It was like the Scourge of the Shire or something like that.
Oh yeah, that entire portion just got skipped. I think they
Mm.
were mainly focused on the journey at hand.
Yeah.
With that being said, it was still very well done, but again, they just missed so much that could have made everything just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like
If
the more of a backstory on Merry and Pippin
yeah.
and all of that stuff. I think that would have been great because starting out, they're just a couple of potheads that are just caught stealing food all the time, traveling with these other two goofs. And then eventually they're like, oh, now we're going to become warriors. We're going to take down Saruman's tower with the Ents. And I mean, there's so much more character to them than just the pothead. That's literally what they did. They smoked a lot of pot when they took down Saruman's tower and just hung out and ate.
I like to imagine that, like, outside of the context of the books and even the movies, like, to Marion and Pippin personally, they're just like, is that a fucking tree? Is that moving?
Yeah, right? Yeah, because, well, none of them have left the Shire before, but how can they be so calm when they see these things? You know?
Because they're
Like,
blitzed. That's why.
that's exactly. They're high the entire time. It's
Are,
like, yo, this shrub just talked to me, man. Smoke it.
are you a friend of the trees? I guess.
I blaze it up all the time. 420, what's up?
Trying to pass him the pipe. Come on, man.
Right.
Puff,
Turns out
puff,
to be a
pass.
distant relative or something.
Cuts to what's actually happening. He's just trying to, like, shove a pipe into a regular tree.
There you go. Yeah, he's just freaking out. That's all the story is they're all just blitzed on random drugs, and Sam and Frodo just find a dilapidated dog somewhere, and they call it Schmeagol, and they drag it around and beat it, and while they're trying to throw some piece of jewelry that he found into some like lake somewhere.
Lembas bread is actually an edible.
Yo, I think you're onto something there,
Uh-oh.
because that's supposed to fill up a full-grown man in 1 or 2 bites, and like the hobbits eat like 6 of those, and they were never the same since.
Now, I've got a question for you. Are you a pot user?
I haven't been in a long time. Used to be.
I'm a little less nowadays. I usually use it for, like, end of day stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not doing anything the rest of the night, I'm like, sure, whatever. But I made the mistake of somebody had given me a very heavily laced brownie, and I took, like, one bite, and I'm like, this is weak. I can't even taste it in there. So I ate the whole
That's the
thing.
point. You
Yeah.
don't make a brownie for it to taste like weed. You make a brownie for it to taste like a brownie.
Oh yeah. But then so I went to lunch at a local buffet, which is like a 20-minute walk from where I was living at the time. Here's the thing. I made it there, no problem. Felt totally fine. Even ate lunch and I was doing great. Problem is it kicked in as I was paying the bill.
Oh shit.
But you pay the bill like up at the front door. And so I'm standing there with the ticket and I'm like, "Oh, oh." And then I'm like, and like there's a whole family like dad, wife and kids in front of me and I'm like, "Oh, they know."
Oh right, you start getting that inner monologue.
Like, "Oh, they." I'm like, "They know. They know."
Just breathe.
Like they haven't even looked at me and they know. And put my ticket up on the counter and thankfully I've completely for the most part stopped using like paper money.
Yeah.
I just use my debit card. And so he's like, "Oh, $24.95." I'm like, "Uh, card." And I just like slapped it on the desk. I'm like, "Yeah, here you go." I'm like, "That's for you." And then he's like did the whole like slide it through and everything. It's like,
Did you leave a good
he's
tip
like, "Have a nice day." I'm like, "You got it."
It's like, I better make it home. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I'm like, well, if I remember, I fully considered getting like an Uber back. Because like I was with my ex at the time and I called her and I'm standing outside of like I think it's like a JC Penney or something. I'm like, "I don't think I can make it home." Like,
It kicked in. I'm going to die. Somebody help me, please.
well, she's like, "How much of the brownie did you eat?" I'm like, "Yes. Yes."
All of it.
"How much was in there?" And she's like, "That was a lot of brownie." I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah.
Oh dang.
Uh, did you ever experience tinnitus or the THC based tinnitus?
I'm actually diagnosed with tinnitus from my prior military service.
Oh, well, thank you for your service, and I'm sorry you have that problem.
It's common in the military. I'm almost practically deaf out of my left ear. Just constant ringing all the time.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. You get used to it, but some nights, especially if you're around machines like I am, it makes it really hard to sleep. So I have to sleep with like a headband on with speakers in them so I can listen to stories or whatever and just not focus on the constant that's going on in my ears.
Mm. I don't have the regular tinnitus, but once in a while I do experience the THC based tinnitus, which for me is
Yeah.
if I smoke too much. And the first time that happened, I was convinced, due to the context of the day that I was convinced that I was having a stroke.
Oh, jeez.
Well, well, here's the thing. When it comes to like my own mortality, I'm relatively calm. And so, like, my ears explode and I collapse into a heap on my bed. And my ex is sitting across the room and she's stoned too. And I'm like, "Honey!" And we were living with roommates, so I'm like, I'm like, "Go get Zach, please." And well, because in context, my buddy Zach has a family member who is prone to like seizures due to having a stroke.
Okay.
And so I had seen his family member have a seizure, and so when I collapsed, I'm like, "Oh, is this what this is?"
Oh. Quick, somebody grab my tongue.
Yeah. Get my wallet. Get my wallet. And what the best thing about Zach is that he won't judge you. He won't make fun of you if you're panicking. And because he's a huge pothead. He like
Yeah.
way more than I ever could be. And he comes walking in and he goes, "What's up?" And I'm like, yeah, what are the symptoms of a stroke? And he just leans down and he goes, "You're not having a stroke." and and I'm like, "Well, how do you know, man?" And he goes, "Well, if you were, we wouldn't be having this conversation." Like,
You wouldn't be able to ask me if you were having a stroke.
yeah, and I'm laying there. He's like, "We wouldn't be having this conversation." And I stopped for a second. I'm like, "Yeah, fair enough." Yeah.
Just
But
breathe.
well, because I took some heavy hits off of a bong.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you were incapacitated.
Oh yeah, I was gone. Uh, for also for any lawyers out there listening to me, I'm in Oregon where it is legal statewide. So shut up.
Well, it's mostly legal throughout the country now, recreationally. There's more regulations than some, but
Oh
I
yeah,
hear you,
but
man. I'm from Oregon, so I get it.
I say, but just in case somebody out there is like, well, depending on what area you're in. No, no, man. I'm in what's considered by some to be like the weed capital.
You're in Portland?
Yeah.
Man, I'm actually, I think I'm heading down that way Sunday.
Hell yeah. I'm
Well,
I'm
technically, I've got to cut through Portland because I got to go just 30 minutes west of Portland.
damn. I was gonna say, hey man, if you're not doing anything, you want to go to Lloyd Center?
Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
Wow. I just want to go to Voodoo Donuts, man.
Well, I mean, I, I, if you're down for that, that would make you the first YouTube person I've ever met in person.
Same. Dude, I only live 4 hours away.
Oh, my back. There we go. I like I said, hey man, if you're passing through Portland, let me know.
I got you. I got you. I'll let you know.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I'm from Portland. I grew up there. Like, that place is my stomping grounds when I was a kid. I used to go to Lloyd Center all the time. I grew up in St. John's.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was it the Max?
Yeah.
The where I am, you can get on the blue line and it goes straight to Lloyd Center.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a I think half an hour train ride or Max ride. I
So
don't consider the Max a train.
it's a trolley.
Yeah, or like an above ground subway.
Yeah. So you're towards the hospital then, right? Not OHSU, but the Providence.
I'm closer to Legacy.
Legacy. Okay.
Yeah, sort
Legacy.
of that
That's Good
the
Samaritan, isn't it? No.
Legacy Mount Hood.
No. Okay. So you're more towards. I know where you're at then. Okay.
Yeah. I'm on the very like edge of Portland.
Yeah, towards the Gresham side.
Mm.
Yeah.
But hell yeah.
Nice. Has it gotten any better?
In regards to what?
In regards to the current events that have happened in the last couple of years, because I heard it just went to just shit.
Well, what I find funny is whenever, so I stay out of most things when it comes to like the political spectrum, that sort of thing.
That's fair.
Like what was it? I got concerned messages and phone calls. It's like, are you okay? I heard there are riots going on downtown. I'm like, I'm so far from downtown.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like I don't even see it.
Like the only part that really got hit bad, I think, was the Pearl District.
Pearl got hit, and then I think around Pioneer Square also got it pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah,
Church of
because I think.
Scientology got wrecked.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Over by, was it Harvey Milk Street or Harvey Milk Road
Mm-hmm.
by the waterfront?
Yeah.
Still a
That's
lot of
insane.
crazy people down there. It's great.
Well, and the fact that they're still doing the Rose Festival and stuff.
Are they?
Last I heard, they were.
What? Oh, that's going to be interesting. I'll make sure to stay home for that.
Yeah.
uh, well, what the last time I went to, I don't think it was the Rose Festival. It was like that. I think it was called like Festival of Lights or something.
With the Christmas tree lighting?
It's like I want to say it's like right before Christmas. So like they don't
Okay.
light the tree, but they have like the floats come by that have all the fun holiday
Oh,
stuff.
the boats.
Yeah, and one of them was like Star Wars themed, and we went there when I was like 14, and I got gunned down by a stormtrooper.
What?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
me and my
The,
friend are sitting on the sidelines, and we see stormtroopers. And we're like, "Do it, do it!"
that's the only stormtrooper that ever actually qualified with its weapon. It actually was
Yeah,
able to hit its target.
I mean, I'm still a hero, so I guess he missed. He missed my vital organs.
There you go.
Oh, dude, stormtroopers are like my favorite thing about Star Wars. It's something about like it's not even the clone troopers. I like regular stormtroopers because a lot of them are just people who need a job.
Yeah, they're the realest thing to believe in that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and what was that part when the Death Star was starting to get blown up and destroyed, and it's Luke Skywalker versus Vader right then and there. You can hear the shots in the background, but there was no other rebel forces on the ship.
Mm.
So what were they shooting at? They were shooting each other to get into the escape pods.
We're getting out of here. Fuck you. I'm getting out of here. No.
Basically.
Well, that and like it's how do I word it? Like it removes that ambiguity when it gets to like the sequels because they're like, yeah, we raised kids from birth to be stormtroopers, but
Yeah.
but when it comes to like the regular Empire, I think in Solo they even show it's like, hey man, I need a job, and then the Imperial officer's like, you're gonna like serve in infantry first, and then you'll be a stormtrooper.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, you want a good, cushy government job? Because that's literally what it was. It was a government job.
I'm gonna stand here and push buttons. That's all I do.
Right? And hopefully not get force choked by Darth Vader.
Dude, dude, those officers on the bridge have the easiest job because they don't have to go anywhere. They're just like, yeah, something's on my screen.
Right? This one's making a bleeping noise.
I think that's a ship. Oh, there it goes, and then choking.
Yeah, right? Why did you let them escape? I'm literally an intern. Why are you yelling at me?
I'm holding coffee, sir.
Right? This isn't even the logistics bay. We don't do anything with the engines. I can't chase anybody.
You ever watch Robot Chicken?
Yes.
Have you seen the Star Wars specials?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh God, I want a latte, and it's on the other side of the Death Star. And then the
And
stormtrooper's like,
then he wants a pastry from Ricardo's.
yeah, Ricardo's, this thing's the size of a moon. You want me to go all the way to
It's a
Ricardo's?
3-day trip all the way back there. Then he gets back and he's got his own coffee machine with a pastry maker.
I I saw a fan film recently that explored that. Not it's not as off topic as we've been, but there's a fan film where it explores like Vader's inner workings more so than you get to see in the movies.
Hmm.
Like you know he kills Mace Windu in episode 3 and he's like, "Oh, I guess I got to be the bad guy." And then he kind of slowly is like, "This is pretty cool," you know?
Kind of like how he mentally processes everything.
Yeah. And so like it's him like standing in the throne room and the emperor's like giving him shit. It's like, "Yeah, you let your wife die, you numbnuts," and it like flashes to what Vader wants to do, which is to like stab the emperor. Then the emperor's like, "You're not gonna do it." He's like, "I can see your thoughts. You're not gonna do it." And I'm just like, "Oh, ooh, oh no."
Just you wait. Me and my son will beat you up in another 30 years.
Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
Right.
I'm gonna pick you up over my head, and I'm gonna throw you down the shaft, and then you're gonna come back like 30 years later.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I should have mentioned that's another thing that Rise of Skywalker refuses to explain. Like outright refuses.
Yeah, see, that's one that needs context.
Well, there's literally a moment where they're standing around and one guy goes, "Wait, how can he be back?" And then somebody's like, "There's no time."
You're right. Stop asking questions. And they just shoot
Should
the
have.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's and the thing is, it's not like there was any ambiguity towards Palpatine's death. He fell down, like he fell into the engine of the Death Star.
Yeah,
And
like
exploded.
it wasn't like he was going through an exhaust pipe or something to where he could have just floated. No, you were in a combustion chamber. You should have died a very painful death.
Yeah, and you even get to see like the energy from him exploding like shoot back up the shaft.
Yeah.
And then the Death Star on top of that explodes. And then I'm like, and then it's like, "Oh, he's back." I'm like, Tell me.
How?
Tell me how. Please
Right?
explain.
Tell me about the stars.
Tell me about the rabbits, George. But oh, well, that and there's another like on top of that Luke's lightsaber thing that I mentioned earlier. Something
Yeah.
even more egregious happens with that lightsaber. that lightsaber explodes.
What?
Yeah, blows up, gets blown in half. And
How?
Kylo Ren and Rey have a force tug of war, and it explodes that lightsaber in half. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. For a second, I'm like, that's kind of interesting that they're like, just for that moment, I'm like, huh. Like, just that kind of symbol of all this history is suddenly gone. And then the next movie starts, and the lightsaber is fixed, and they pretend like it was never broken in the first place.
So then what's the point of breaking it?
And when I mean it exploded, I don't mean like, ooh, it got a little crack in it or it shorted out. No, it exploded in half.
See, then what's the point of that? They literally just probably wanted just a cool looking scene.
Yeah.
That's literally all the last three movies I think are. They're really cool looking, but does nothing for the story.
And like the movie literally starts with Rey training with that lightsaber, and the whole time she's like doing sick flips. Did I mention Rey can fucking fly now?
Oh man.
Not the force jump. Like she's levitating when you first see her in Rise of Skywalker. It's nuts. But the thing is, that whole scene where she's training with the lightsaber, I'm like, okay, I'm willing to excuse this if somebody somewhere says, "Hey, I fixed this for you."
Just
And
some
that,
random person.
yeah, some no-name engineer could just say like, "Hey, I welded this back together for you." I would be totally fine. I could walk it off. It never happens. Ever. They never bring it up.
That's dumb.
Also, you know what the cruelest twist of irony ever is?
What?
You know how back in episode 2, Anakin's like, "I hate sand. It's coarse and rough and it gets everywhere."
Yeah.
The movie ends with Rey burying Anakin's lightsaber on Tatooine.
I mean, that's poetic justice.
So, like,
Or
what a...
toss it in the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, or sell it to, what was his name? Fucking... Oh, no, what's his name? He sells him to the guy who used to own Anakin.
Oh,
It's not Sebulba, it's Watto. There we go.
Watto, yeah.
He sells it to Watto for money. Oh, that would be so dark.
Or the Jawas, sell it to the Jawas. They trade.
Or you bury it where Smee's buried.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
Or give it to the Sand People.
Just kind of throw it at him. Or you go back to Bespin and you drop it down the exhaust shaft again.
Right.
No. Oh, no, you take it to Mustafar and you throw it into the lava.
I mean, that would work.
That would fix it. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. It's like, well, I saw a bunch of memes after that movie came out of like, man, Anakin must be pissed from beyond the grave. I hate sand, and then see it get buried into the sand.
I think at that point he's just kind of, I'm over it. I'm done. Which is weird because he didn't die the same way like Obi-Wan Kenobi did. Obi-Wan Kenobi just became one with the Force. Anakin just died.
Well, then Qui-Gon got like cheap shotted by me by Darth Maul.
I wouldn't say it was cheap shotted. Darth Maul has a double-bladed lightsaber. Qui-Gon's not a battler though. He's a he was a Democrat.
Oh no, it's
Or
when
he was
when
a
he gets.
bureaucrat.
Oh no, it's when he gets decked in the head for me that I'm like, oh jeez, dude.
Oh yeah. But he wasn't a soldier or anything. He was just a bureaucrat.
Mm.
And Obi-Wan was just a Padawan at the time.
Mm.
I don't understand how Obi-Wan was able to beat Darth Maul because Obi-Wan is not as powerful Jedi.
I always kind of wrote it off as like
He's got a really good work ethic. That's what it is.
he's a fast learner. He's got great work ethic. I mean, his reference is dead, but you know.
Whatever. I mean, he helped bring the most dangerous Sith Lord known to man, you know, into power. But whatever. We'll give him a pass.
I mean,
go find
whatever.
His son.
Am I right?
You know, he was only the main cause of the Jedi Order getting assassinated and destroyed.
I was watching an analysis on the prequels, and somebody brought up a good point that, like, Obi-Wan pretty consistently just doesn't answer Anakin's questions.
Yeah. On purpose.
Hey, why are the Jedi Masters doing this? Well, you know, they're the Jedi Masters.
You don't ask questions. That's the point I'm getting across.
Don't look too far into it. And then he goes to Palpatine, and Palpatine's like, you should look more into it.
Basically. It's like, here, I'll even help you get the answers you want.
Yeah. Have I ever told you about the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Right.
I feel like that's the moment that Anakin should have just turned to Palpatine and went like, "Are you the Sith Lord?" Like none of the hidden internal struggle. Just like, wait a second, you know an awful lot about this Darth Plague. That's a little too much, man.
Right? Is are are you him? I mean, were you related to him?
For just a senator, you seem to know an awful lot about this Sith Lord guy.
Right?
And you're hanging out in dark rooms watching fish fly into giant water bubbles.
Right? And I'm already gonna say that black cloak is already kind of suspicious. But now I can kind of put two and two together.
You strike me as the kind. Why do all of your robes have a hood on them? You're a senator.
Right?
You strike me as the kind of guy who has a lightsaber up his sleeve.
That's why I wanted Jar Jar Binks, because at least his wasn't seen coming.
It was me, Annie.
It was me, Sir Annie.
The thing is, I'm imagining like a lightsaber fight between Anakin and Jar Jar, and all I'm seeing is like his giant ears flopping around.
Jar Jar is way too nimble. He would have murdered Anakin way too fast.
Oh yeah, especially with that like triple half gainer that he does into the water in episode 1.
Or what was that at the end of episode 1 when they storm the palace and he literally takes 2 jumps and he ends up on top of that bridge thing.
Yeah.
Like you force jumped right there. Like everybody saw that, right? Because nobody else in his species can do that.
I'm imagining like seeing that from the outside perspective. Well, what was his name? Captain Tanaka, the pilot. You just sitting there like, has anybody tested Jar Jar for midichlorians? Anybody? Qui-Gon, hey, where are you going?
Yeah, right? Like, can people in this universe just stop being so, oh, that's just the way it goes around here? Like, no, start asking questions, man, because I don't give a shit who you are. Somebody's asking something.
Yeah, something's up.
There's a new guy interning or something and just gonna just start asking random questions.
Well, like both the Mandalorian series and sort of like the weird side series almost answer, like they almost give me my wish, and I just even Solo almost did that, where I want to see what it's like to be a stormtrooper. Like, we've seen what clone troopers are like. They're very well organized, but I want to see what it's like to be like regular dude and you're handed a blaster and you're like, all right, figure it out.
I could see them like
good luck
clocking in on the Death Star and like another day at the office.
Another day, another credit.
Getting a cup of coffee or something from like the local cafeteria and then like walking to their like guard station or whatever. But you gotta think about it. That base is heavily manned. Like, I don't care who you are. There's way too many people on this. There can't be like, you don't need a 24-hour guard shift when you're in space. I don't care who you are. But like a main guard shift or like a single rotation maybe. But people are patrolling for no reason on the Death Star.
Yeah.
And like marching for no reason.
Or like how when Han Solo charges that one room and there's like a room full of stormtroopers. I'm like, what are they all doing in that one room? Like, what made you gather here?
Like, but you don't see any engineers. You don't see anybody working on the engines or any of that. It's all stormtroopers or brigsmen. Everybody working or not brigsmen, but all the people working up in the captain's quarters or whatever they call it.
Who cleans the trash compactor, man?
Right?
Because
put the snake in there.
Yeah, who put that weird monster thing in there? Is that one of the stormtroopers? Did he mutate?
It was probably a pet that he lost on the ship, like his family pet. He was bringing it to
It's
work with him and like
it's
lost it on the ship.
it's like that guy with a rancor.
Yeah,
Yeah, guys, check this out. I smuggled my pet onto the ship. Well, where'd you hide him? In the trash compactor.
basically.
I like, but that I want. I don't even want a whole series. I want maybe like a 3 episode thing. But just what is it like to be working for the Empire? What does your day to day look like?
I mean, that would be a really short-lived like movie because I think it would be a. I think a stormtrooper's average lifespan is maybe a year in service.
And depending on who's nearby, maybe 20 minutes.
Exactly, like all the new hires up front. What? All right, send the rebels in.
Hey, oh God, can you imagine how terrifying that would be if you're just some regular Joe Schmo stormtrooper and they're like, "Yeah, the Emperor's stopping by." And you're like, oh shit. Okay, let's all form up and just kind of hold still as possible.
Right.
I like to imagine one of those stormtroopers is just going, "Don't notice me, don't notice me, don't notice me, please. Don't look at me."
Well, yeah, because you know if one of them, because they all look alike, if one of them just moves wrong, they're getting force choked and everybody in there is dying.
Somebody sneezes.
Right?
And there's just lightning.
Who was that? It was Jeff from accounting.
It was me, TK426, sir.
Right? Just zapped.
Just disintegrates.
I have a feeling that they're not that disciplined. And they don't discipline very well. I think it's more so, you want to work for the Empire? Sure, here's a helmet.
Hey, are you living on this garbage planet, which consists of most of the outer rim? Are you tired of eating garbage for a living? Come work for the Empire.
Yeah, you'll only eat garbage some of the time.
Well, you only eat the garbage that we give you.
It almost makes you think, what would you need to put on a resume to work for the Empire? Like, is there different positions, or do you have to start at a stormtrooper? And, like, if you survive an encounter, you automatically get a promotion?
Well, I mean, if you put Microsoft Word on there, I think you got a pretty good chance.
Right? I'm advanced at Excel spreadsheet and QuickBooks. Infantry. Oh,
I can open the command prompt.
Right? Control Alt Delete.
I know how to work Chrome and Internet Explorer and Safari. You just kind of like,
Right. I have a feeling like all the people that are in the Empire are all boomers that just hired all the young people to help with the technology. I mean, look at Palpatine. Come on.
Oh, that explains where all the officers are like in their mid to late 40s.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Grand Moff Tarkin's like, "I don't know how this console works. Fire the laser."
Right? Somebody push this button.
Somebody somewhere fire the laser. Oh my God. That. Oh. What makes you want to serve the Empire? Well, I feel like the galaxy needs to be regulated. What I'm actually asking is, do you know how to help me unlock my phone?
Right? We need a new IT guy. The last one got vaporized.
The last guy didn't calibrate that weird pod that Darth Vader sits in.
You're right.
By the way, that pod always looked super comfortable to me. Like, if you put some pillows in there, you know?
You think so?
Minus the arm coming down to screw on a helmet, but...
I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it.
What, the giant metal egg?
Yeah, it didn't look comfortable. Not that I'm claustrophobic or anything, but I like to
Well, it,
sprawl out. I want to
well, it,
stretch.
it seems like there was a light on in there. You know.
A little late night reading in his pod. I can see a pull string for a
V-
light bulb.
Vader, what are you doing in there? Reading. Stop.
Leave me alone, Dad. God.
Ugh. Or
And he can actually say that because Palpatine's his dad.
you're not my real dad, and then Palpatine's like,
I wish I wasn't.
if only you knew.
Oh.
What does Father's Day look like for Palpatine?
Right.
Oh my god. Oh, before I forget, you know how Vader turned good at the last minute?
I don't know how. All I know is that he did.
Like he did, help Luke and all that, and he's like, "Oh, let me look upon you with my own eyes," and all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kylo Ren, like, it's weird. Kylo Ren like prays to the melted helmet of Darth Vader, but like I don't understand why. He's like, "Show me the dark side, grandfather." I'm like, but he was a good guy at the end. Why would you do that?
Because that's part of the story that's never told. Why would
Yeah,
Kylo Ren know that he was a good guy?
unless everybody in their I should mention Kylo Ren also trained under Luke, the one guy who knows probably the most about Darth Vader other than Darth Vader.
That's true.
And you
But
think
again,
it's some
knowing Luke, he probably didn't tell him everything because who was Luke's predecessors are the ones that taught him? Obi-Wan Kenobi, who gave him no information,
Yoda?
or Yoda, that also didn't give him any information, spoken rhyme,
Yeah.
and it made him carry him around in a backpack and then do handstands. Like, this is good for you. Like, I got blisters, man. Come on.
Working out will strengthen your connection with the Force.
No, it's not
Somehow.
going to make me hungry.
What do we have to eat here? Well, I have some oatmeal.
Right? I mean, especially that it won't strengthen your connection with the Force if it's based off of a whatever the fuck it's called.
I like how we're both like breaking down.
Yeah, right. Anyways, I love
fucking
horror,
whatever.
but Star Wars is getting just kicked in the balls tonight.
Tonight's the public shaming of Star Wars.
Don't get me wrong, I loved it. But you had to make a Christmas special?
What do you mean, Life Day? You don't celebrate Life Day?
Let's just not. I'd rather not. I'd like to wipe that part of my memory clean.
I can't forget. It's stuck with me forever.
I know that if I were to forget it, I would see it pop up somewhere and I'd watch it again. And it would just be this vicious cycle of hating it.
I can't stop. I can't.
Right? Why do I do this to myself?
Well, somebody brought up a good point that they were almost 100% sure that Ewoks eat people because
that's
at
what they
the
were
end
doing. That's what they were prepping for, was to eat
well,
them.
well, no, especially at the end of Return of the Jedi. Do you see any stormtrooper bodies anywhere?
Yeah, no, they ate you.
Yeah.
C-3PO saved their lives.
Hey, I'm a weird golden deity, and my friends over here are my subjects, so you can't eat them.
Basically. Oh, good job. And done.
Then they're hanging around singing Yub Nub.
Basically. But they must have still been hungry, so what else did they eat?
Lembas bread.
They cannibalize. They cannibalize each other.
Each other. That's darker. Oh wait. Okay, hear me out here. Does does the Ewok Society run like Logan's run? You get to a
You
certain
know
age and they're
what?
just like,
It's
get
not called.
him.
It's not called carousel. It's crockpot.
Oh my god. You see some of those Ewoks that have like gray in their fur, and it's like, oh, they're next. It's
Yeah,
happening.
right. They're hitting that old age. Mm.
And you just see like some of the Ewoks just kind of rubbing their hands together, just waiting.
That's why they're always drooling.
Oh no! I can't get that image out of my head now.
We need to
Why
make
did
this canon. This needs to be
Oh,
canon.
did you hear about that I think it was like a producer meeting where it was clear that George Lucas, at least for a little bit, kind of lost track of what characters are where in the Star Wars universe.
I heard something about it, but I never actually saw that.
It it was the story goes he's sitting with like a bunch of producers, and I think it was for like a game or something, and he walks over to like a row of like action figures, like statues and whatnot, and he picks up a Darth Maul statue, and he picks up a Twi'lek who has kind of like the same patterning as Darth Maul, like the red and black and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Look, they're friends." And one of the guys on the team goes, "No, George, those characters existed thousands of years apart. They've never met each other."
Then again, you build a universe so wide and everything else, because you gotta think he didn't develop everything. So
Yeah,
he doesn't know everything, even about his own universe.
yeah. See, I hope to get like that one of these days. Build something that just spirals so hard out of control that even I get lost.
Yes. Well, that way, that means you can enjoy it with fresh eyes too,
What do you mean Palpatine's Anakin's kid?
right? Palpatine survived. I don't know how.
How?
The Force. It was the Force all along.
I like to imagine he's got like J.J. Abrams by the collar of his shirt. How? How did he survive?
Right.
You tell me.
Give me your secrets. Even then, J.J. Abrams was like, I haven't thought that far ahead. It was just a nice twist.
Dude, I handed it to Ryan Johnson, and then that went sideways, and I had to come back. Yeah.
Right? It's like, yeah, we're going to have to just remake all of them. We're just going to pretend this was all just a fever dream and it never actually happened, and we're going to redo it all.
Oh, you said remake, and my heart just sank because I feel like in the next however long we're gonna have like, check out this new reboot of Star Wars. No.
It's going to... All the lightsabers are now superimposed thumbs up.
Uh, each character talks in emojis.
Right? All the blasters are replaced with walkie-talkies.
With super soakers. Blast them.
They'd still miss.
Oh my god. Well, I heard Vader equated to space Hitler? Like that was just the term that they used. But now that's stuck in my brain forever. So whenever I see like, like a kid's T-shirt with Darth Vader on, it's like Darth Vader, and he's got the lightsaber. I'm like, Space Hitler. Yeah.
Like an '80s sitcom. I could see like a Starsky and Hutch. See Vader with an afro and sideburns and the Hitler stash.
Vader, here's your new partner. It's a chimpanzee. What?
I can't work with no monkey. It's ruining my vibe.
And then the chimp reaches into its back pocket and pulls out a lightsaber.
All right, little monkey dude.
Let's conquer the universe together.
Isn't that basically Palpatine, though?
Wait, is Vader the monkey?
No.
Wait a minute. Wait. I mean, Vader is essentially just like a torso.
Yeah.
Tune in this fall to Palpatine and the Torso.
That sounds like a shitty superhero group.
I am the Torso. Oh my god. Like,
wow.
I like how in almost every Batman movie there's a scenario where a henchman and or crime boss has to go, "Who the hell are you?" And of course, I'm Batman.
Oh yeah, I am Batman.
I don't know.
He's like, I'm trying to work out my voices right now. I don't know which one sounds scarier, so bear with me.
Where is he?
Yeah, right.
Where's Harry then? Oh my god. Like, what was it? Have you seen that photo of Heath Ledger jumping a skateboard over Christian Bale?
Yes. On the set of Batman, yes.
Every time I see that photo, I'm like, they should have put that in the fucking movie.
That would have been perfect.
Hit me, Ollie's over.
Right? I like to dabble with skateboarding.
Instead of his talk about like knives or torture, he's just like, I like to go to skate parks.
Right? I'm a huge fan of Tony Hawk.
He's listening to Superman by Goldfinger. Oh, wait, shit, I gotta write that down. Hold on.
Oh,
I know what the opening to this is gonna be.
This is no longer an interview. Then we should just start a podcast of just shitting on everybody's beloved franchises.
Batman sucks. Wait, what? How do you spell that? Goldfinger. There we go. You know that scene where Joker's riding in the cop car?
Yeah.
And he's like hanging out of the back. I'm imagining Superman by Goldfinger's playing on the radio as he's being driven away. I think that's going to be the opening for this episode.
Yes.
And if you're watching it at home, you've already seen it. It's too late.
Oh shit.
You're already here.
If you've stayed this long.
Yeah. I mean, hey, kudos to you, man.
Right? Bravo. Almost at 2 hours, man.
Oh, yeah. I just checked the time myself. You know what? I think since we're closing it on 2 hours, I think we will draw this here interview to a close. This has been fantastic. Chronopasta, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this has been a blast. At least for me.
Oh, yeah. This is great.
Do you have a video on your channel that you are particularly proud of that you'd like people to be pointed to?
Yes. If anybody could go check out, I have episode 1 of The House That Jack Built. It's been up on my channel for a while, but please go check it out. I'm going to have more and more episodes coming out for The House That Jack Built, and you're going to see people show up on there. There's already As the Raven Dreams. There's Spooky You videos. Go check it out. I'm going to have a cast and a half and more people to come.
Hell yeah. And there will be a link in the description below to both the channel and the specific video for you wonderful party people at home to check out. Chrono, I have one last question to ask you before we get out of here.
Sure.
If asked, would you be open to coming back on as a return guest?
Oh, we haven't stopped this discussion on Star Wars, man. I'll be back.
This isn't over.
This isn't over.
Nothing is over. but thank you again, Chrono, for being on. This has been wonderful. I hope to even not even in an interview sense. I hope to talk to you again soon.
Definitely.
But you wonderful party people at home, thank you for sticking all the way through this episode. If you feel like supporting this show, there is a Patreon if you'd like. It's totally optional. Do it. No, it's totally optional.
There's no option.
Do it now.
That's
the only way this. That's the only way this video ends.
How many tiers do you have available on your Patreon?
I haven't checked in a while. I have a good couple. You can tell how popular I am because I haven't looked. But if I remember, I have 5 tiers, but they're all in ascending order of if you donate like $1, you'll get your name here. If you donate 5, I think it's name read out, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And then I think it goes in. If I recall, it's like I said, it's been a minute. It goes into like Discord calls and hanging out and all that good stuff.
If you make a tier for, let's say, $50 tier, I will join, but it has to be a specific tier for me, and it has to be that you have to say my name randomly in every interview you have, in just random intervals, at least 10 times.
Yeah.
Like I said here, oh, how are you doing today? Chrono! Oh, sorry.
Yeah, those new Star Wars movies do suck. Chronopasta.
Just subliminal advertising at its finest.
You say that, but I literally just figure out a way that I could totally do that. Have you ever heard of slow wave radio frequencies?
Yes.
Just have like this horrifying beeping in the background. Everybody's like, "What is that?" And like, it's just the Chronopasta said over the span of 2 hours.
That's awesome.
But you know what? I might have to go back and update my my tiers now. Thanks. But yeah, you wonderful party people at home, if you feel like it, go ahead. There's no pressure. I'll just be sitting here thinking about it.
I'll wait.
No, I'm waiting on you. We
won't let this end. Go ahead and do it right now. I'm waiting.
That part of me wishes I was on camera so I could sit here with my hands folded on my desk, staring into the camera.
We're waiting.
It's on you if the next episode comes out, man.
Hurry
it's up to you.
Up. Just egging him on. That'd be great.
Holding my show hostage.
I'll do it. Don't make me.
Is there going to be an episode next Monday? It depends. Can we keep the lights on?
Right.
But thank you again, Chrono, for coming on. This has been fantastic. And you wonderful party people at home, please go check out Chronopasta. Again, links will be in the description below. But until then, this has been Demasked, and I will see all of you very soon.